You're listening to Edge Radio TV. The views and opinions expressed in this program are that of the hosts or guests, and not the Edge Radio Network or its advertisers or affiliates.
Happy Monday, moguls. I hope everyone enjoyed their weekend. I hope you were able to relax. Some of us worked as well. Productivity is always good, but having life balance, is so important, guys. And so today I have a special guest, and this woman, I just love her energy. Her spirit kind of shines through. We met on IG, and she's one of those friends that will check on you here and there. She'll check to see how I'm feeling during pregnancy. I'll check on her to see how she is dealing with a new baby, a new princess. And so I'm extremely excited to have her on the show today. So help me welcome Mrs. Natalie Noisette. Hey. Hi, Mogul.
Hello, how are you this morning?
Good. How's your morning going thus far?
It's going.
I know. Now the baby is with your mom, right?
She is, yes.
Okay, cool. So you get some me time this morning.
Yes.
So thanks for being on the show. And so I want you to introduce yourself to the moguls, to the viewers, and then share a couple of handles or how they can reach you.
Okay, sure. My name, like Sean mentioned, is Natalie Noisette, and I am a serial entrepreneur, new mother, and yes. I help businesses optimize and organize their finances. Yes. If anyone is interested in getting in contact with me, my personal Instagram page is I am Nat Noise. And then for the business page, it is at Credit Conversion.
Yes. So let's jump right into it. So the young Natalie, the girl, yes. I always ask my guests, the first question I like to ask is, I want you to tell me what woman inspired you the most, motivated you, who you may have wanted to emulate, who kept you abreast of being self-secure, self-motivated. What woman would you think that would have been in your childhood?
Just off the top of my head, I think Oprah might have been the person who I identified with the most growing up. Okay. She had this way of being so curious about the world, and just looking at her talk show, I would always be interested in like why she chose the guests that she chose. The questions that she asked were so insightful. When she shared information, there was just so much wisdom and warmth. And I just love how people like opened up to her after knowing her for like 2 seconds.
Yes.
That
all races. It was good to see a Black woman be able to bring all races together. It wasn't just a Black show, or it wasn't just a Black woman with all white guests or a white show. It was really, really awesome to see that.
For sure. No, for sure. And she also had this way about her, and I looked at her and I don't know what it was. Maybe it was her being a Black woman, her being open about her struggling with her weight, her being so open about her abortions or miscarriage, like the loss of her child, having early situations with molestation or whatever it may be, how open she was and how vulnerable she was, and how that was almost her superpower.
Yes.
That drew me to Oprah very much growing up.
It was very therapeutic too. I would say to she as a woman being able to share and be inspiration to us. But it was so therapeutic as being a woman, seeing her be so vulnerable, and it made you feel comfortable with, because a lot of us have dealt with we've all dealt with something in our childhood, whether it was insecurity about physicality, intelligence, emotional, like you said, molestation. There's so many things So she really, really was so different than I think she was so different than what we had seen thus far, regardless of white, black, Chinese, Asian, Hispanic, whatever, as a woman on TV. So did she inspire you to want to be in TV, or what was your aspiration as a child? What career path did you see yourself taking?
You know what, to be honest, I kind of went back and forth about a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. I was like the jack of all trades, but the master of none.
Okay.
So I just kind of went where my interests were. But the furthest memory I have, and I was just talking to my mother about it the other day, was I was in the house like playing pretend, and I had my office and like I had my stapler on the desk. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, I guess I always knew I'd be in some kind of like office space or like
business. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like that. I guess I intuited that like early in my life, but mm-hmm. I didn't know what it would eventually turn out to be. But here we are a couple of years later, and I'm a small business owner.
And congrats on that, because that is definitely not an easy feat. Being a business owner, you guys, and we always share this on the show, being a business owner, entrepreneur, contractor, if you don't work and bring the business, you don't eat. You do not have a guaranteed paycheck, whether that be weekly, bi-weekly, monthly.
Yeah, you only eat what you kill.
You just don't. So you have to be very wise as well when you're independent on how you manage your money. So let's go into young adulthood, young womanhood. Where were you? Where? Give us some examples of what you experienced as a woman, or maybe even a trial that you had to kind of get through as a young woman.
As a young woman, the most, I guess, notable trial that I've had to go through went through at the time was the declining health of my father. Taking care of a sick parent is by far the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. Mm-hmm. It made me value life a lot more. Mm-hmm. It made me value my parents a lot more. It made me value the fact that their sacrifices allowed me to be able to become the person that I was up until that point. Mm-hmm. And it just overall even really made me take a hold of my own health and really made me accountable, because a lot of the diseases that he had and like a lot of the sicknesses and illnesses and, conditions and treatments that he had to go through, all of those were self-inflicted. Like they were, had he made different choices, he could have still been with us today, but he didn't.
Did you feel like it's a cultural thing too, the food that we tend to eat, a lot of the soul food, Caribbean food that maybe we don't incorporate enough natural vegetables or fruits or just vitamins, being mindful of what we intake. Was that part of it as well?
Oh yeah, 100%. Even like when he was close to dying, he asked me like maybe a month before he died. I went to go visit him, took care of him for a little while. He was in a nursing home. And he asked me to go to McDonald's to get him a chicken sandwich. And I'm like, sir.
Till the end. No. Till the end. I had a grandmother like that. It's funny you say that. So I just had this conversation with a girlfriend of mine last week about, because she has a parent that deals with diabetes. And I said, girl, when they reach a certain age, my grandmother, my Dadir, which is what we called her, she literally had to have one of her legs amputated because she would not stop eating pies. And it's just, I guess when it's been embedded, it's just really hard to change habit after you get to a certain age, even when diagnosed. So what, were you a daddy's girl?
Not really, no.
More of a mommy's girl.
But very similar experience. He had his left foot, I think it was, amputated. And even me taking care of him and like the little bit of tension that we did have towards the end, it was just like,
you together.
Yeah, it did what it had to do,
Yeah. And that's a blessing for you to be able to take care of a parent. The woman, the mother that raised me, I did that at the end of her life. She ended up having cancer, which caused complications. And it really does make you self-reflect and think about immortality when you're younger. I think you think that you're invincible, when you're in your 20s, especially. And even onto your 30s, you don't really think about mortality unless you have to deal with something so tragic or traumatic. So when we come back, I want to delve into your career in your 20s and your thoughts on womanhood at that age. What would you tell yourself now at that age? And we'll be right back in just a few minutes. All right, we'll be right back, moguls. All right, moguls, so we are back and we have a special guest. She's a financial specialist. She deals with credit conversion and really helping business owners, right? I always like to call it maximizing your finances. And we'll get into that a little later. Because I do want to talk about all this money people are getting from PPPs and what they're actually doing with it, from the tax, what is it, the tax, I didn't get it. That's another story. Stimulus, being smart about it. But let's talk about you as a young woman. What would you tell yourself now? Is there anything you would have done differently? I always like to say everything's meant for a purpose, so not necessarily do differently. But what would you tell yourself now?
I would tell myself to not be afraid to be seen, heard, and felt. Yeah, I would definitely, I would drill that in. I would have been a lot more kind to myself had I known what I know now. I wouldn't have been afraid to take certain risks or, ask for certain things that I would have wanted then. I would also really tell myself to focus.
Yes. Oh, we all, a lot of us would. A lot of us would. Yeah. On certain things. Yes, for sure. So where were you? Share with us a little bit about what was going on in your life at the time.
So let's see. I was living in Florida in my early 20s,
Okay.
and unfortunately wrapped up in this boy. I thought I was in love. Oh
Yeah,
boy.
a lot of us have been there.
You know, I thought I was in love. That
Mm-hmm.
didn't happen. And then I also was in college. I was
Mm-hmm.
taking care of my family.
Mm-hmm.
I was just trying to figure out who I was, what I wanted to do with
Yes.
my life.
Yes.
So I
So
tried a
you
bunch
were
of
hard
different
on
things.
yourself. I think a lot of us were at that age, women
Yeah,
specifically,
yeah,
very hard on ourselves.
no, for
Self
sure.
value, self worth. At that age, I think a lot of times well, women, not immature girls, but women, when
Mm,
you're raised a certain way, you're raised to take care of everybody but yourself, care about
mm-hmm.
everybody's feelings but yourself,
Yeah.
um, provide affirmation for everyone else around you but yourself. You literally come last, and that definitely seeps into womanhood, and you have to be careful with that, especially when you're a mother, because you
Mm-hmm.
can literally lose yourself and your child and kind of become imbalanced. So
Mm-hmm.
did you see your did you well, I guess you did, because you always had that intuition that you would be into business. So where did you go from there? Did you stay in Florida? Did you in your 20s, or did you decide to leave at some point?
No, I left and I went to Massachusetts.
Okay,
That
so
was
you went on
the
to Massachusetts.
first stop. Yeah, there were a lot of opportunities in Massachusetts that would have allowed me to
Awesome.
grow in my field at that time. So I took those opportunities, learned what I had to learn, and I started consulting. And that was my first like little side hustle business.
Awesome.
My
So
first
you
little
started
dab.
early.
Oh
You
yeah,
started early
sure.
with business. Okay. Okay.
No, for sure.
So share with the moguls. I want to get into what services you provide right now, the name of your
Mhm,
company, and what services you provide.
sure. So the parent company is the Lumiere Group.
Mhm.
And under the Lumiere Group, we have one of the Lumiere Group business solutions. So we help businesses properly structure themselves.
Mhm.
Um, we do monthly reconciliation, show them how to really look at their money as a business owner and
Mhm.
make sure that they're maximizing come tax season, right? And then we
Mhm.
also do the filings for them. And in addition to
Awesome.
that, under the Lumiere Group, we have credit conversion. So credit conversion kind of works into two parts. One part is the personal credit, and then the other part is the business credit. You don't have to do business credit if you don't have a business, but it is easier for businesses or business owners to transition from personal credit to business credit and really work focus on funding, focus
Mhm.
on optimizing their finances, focus
Mhm.
on getting the money that they'll need to remain capitalized, because
Mhm.
that's one of the things that hurt businesses the most, unfortunately, is
Mhm.
just lack of capital. So if
Mhm.
your personal credit is great, it makes your business credit and business funding so much easier. So for business owners who are looking to go into business, we help them transition from personal to business credit and clean that up. And then once they've gotten all that cleaned up and they actually have money coming in and they're profitable, we
Mhm.
help them maintain profitability and scale.
Okay, and so what's a good credit score on the personal side right now that
Mm-hmm.
individuals should be striving towards? Because I've
Mm-hmm.
noticed, and I'm in my 40s, so I'm old, but every decade it's a different number. What's considered, on the scale, poor, fair, good, very good, excellent. That's how they scare. And I always say, I'm sure you suggest to clients too, guys, I've shared this before. So I've been a member of Experian for years. You
Mm-hmm.
pay for your membership. You know, they take it automatically monthly. Mine's is $35. You spend that on junk monthly,
Right.
but it sends you your alerts throughout the month regarding your credit score, your activity, if you've had any inquiries, how they've
Mm-hmm.
affected you.
Right.
It gives you pointers on how you can boost your score. Like, for example, the pointer for this month was, and you're probably already aware, Experian has a new thing to boost your score where you can share your monthly expenses that you auto pay. And
Mm-hmm.
then I don't know how, because I haven't done it yet, um, where they'll boost your score. So say like your mud bill, which is your water bill, your electrical, bills that you have to auto pay every month. that you're showing. Now, listen, if you're not paying on time, it's not going to boost your score.
Yeah, don't do it.
But if you're paying on time, you can take advantage of that. So what would be a good personal score that people should be your minimum that you should strive for right now?
Right now, I think everyone should be striving for at least a 740.
All right. That's good.
Minimum.
That's good. And I think a lot of times people, especially me being in real estate, all you hear is 650. That's a great score, but it's not considered great, guys. If you join a membership, and I suggest Experian, you have your scale and it tells you what's good. And really good is 740 is what the scale is now. You have to be, their scale, Experian scale. I don't know about TransUnion. What's the other one? TransUnion?
Equifax. And
okay. So I don't know what theirs is, but so what does that look like if I'm a person that's coming to you? Now, do you deal with just personal credit? And I don't have to have a business to come to you to get my personal rectified for business, right? I can just be an individual that wants to deal with building my credit.
Correct. Yeah. So a lot of the personal credit that gets worked on by us are people who want to purchase homes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a really big market for us. So you made a really good point. A lot of people do just want like a 680 just to qualify. But what ended up happening is you will qualify, assuming like everything else, all the other factors work out. But then you have to consider the fact that you will be burning so much money in interest when your rates are a little bit higher than you'd like them to be because you didn't work on that 740 score.
And I mean thousands, guys. I literally will, and this is when your agent cares for you as a person, as an individual, and you're not just the money sign to them. I literally will tell, and I think all agents should, because we have a fiduciary responsibility now. A lot of us don't take that at heart or actually practice, but you have a fiduciary binding, I guess, on your contract that you sign actually with TREC. So you actually sign a contract saying that you're going to provide that, where you have to have your client's best interest at heart. So if my client comes to me and has a certain score, I would literally say, well, why don't you take some time and try to either pay off some things or negotiate with some of your creditors that are on your report so that you can boost your score to get a better interest rate. And you can always, of course, refinance a year, after or whenever you want to refinance. But it's always best to me, and I'm sure that's what you advise your clients, to get your credit score as best as you can prior to purchasing a home. Now, the good thing is, too, now interest rates are so low. You can have a decent score at a 680, but, you want to try to get the best that you can.
Right.
Okay, so when we come back, I want to delve into what your purpose was for getting into the business that you're into now. And actually, whenever you're involved in assisting someone with purchasing a home, you're involved with changing someone's life. That is the largest purchase for most of us. Now, all of us aren't, some of us are buying yachts and jets and all that, but the majority of Americans are not. The home is going to be the most expensive, the most important, the most, I'll say, sentimental purchase that a person can have. So let's delve into that when we come back. What kind of pushed you to get into this business? All right, we'll be right back in a few minutes, moguls.
Hey y'all, I'm Robin B.
And I'm Dr. Kiva.
And we just want to know
how you living?
Join us every Monday
at noon Central Standard Time
here on Edge Radio TV. Take care.
When people stop talking to each other, society is on the edge. Let's bring them back. Edge Radio, because truth still matters.
We work our whole lives to support our families. With one accident or illness, it can all be gone in an instant. Now there's a smart, affordable way to protect your family. Go to findhealthbenefits.com and discover low-cost life insurance for as little as $2 per month. Add to that a tax-deferred annuity that can help you protect your assets and grow your money for retirement. Learn more. Go to findhealthbenefits.com or call 877-235-6094. A critical illness can strike without warning and wipe out your life savings. In fact, it's the #1 reason for bankruptcy. Find Health Benefits offers an affordable solution. Get up to $50,000 if you get cancer, stroke, or a heart attack, giving you the peace of mind to focus on getting better while the plan helps you to pay your bills and medical expenses. Learn more. Go to findhealthbenefits.com or call 877-235-6094. 66% of seniors spend more time shopping for cable TV than Medicare plans. Most say because it's just too confusing. Laws change every year. The wrong plan could cost you thousands and prevent you from seeing the doctors you want. Introducing FindHealthBenefits.com. Save time, save money, see specialists without referrals. Go to FindHealthBenefits.com or call 877-235-6094 for this informative brochure.
Society is on the edge. Let's bring them back. Edge Radio, because truth still matters.
All right, moguls, so we are back, and for you guys that are just tuning in, we are with credit specialist, financial specialist, and she mainly deals with businesses, but definitely personally, if you're trying to, work on your credit for purchasing a home or for whatever personal reasons, just want to improve your credit so that you have good credit, which you should be striving for anyway. But we have Natalie Norsett, and so we're going to get into what was your motivation, your purpose for getting into this specific type of business? Because of course you're helping other businesses and you're helping individuals with their credit and their finances.
Right. So when I first started my business, when I first journeyed with money, right? When I first learned what money is, how to really deal with it, everything was by mistake.
Yep.
Everything. I mean,
and we've made a lot of mistakes.
Oh my gosh, so many mistakes. And I was just like, you know what could I offer other people that would not allow them to have to go through what I go through or have to go through what I've gone through, and do it in a way that's so streamlined, so easy and stress-free that it doesn't make sense not to do it. You know what I mean? And then that's where credit conversion was born. That's where the Lumiere Group was born. That's where corporate conversion was born. Like all these little break-offs from the Lumiere Group just came so seamlessly because every business needs this. If you plan on being if this is not a hobby, if this is not something that you just want to do for a short amount of time, this is something that you're going to need moving forward. There's no doubt about it. So just looking at what I've experienced and others have experienced through their own markets or whatever they're venturing out for, I was just like, you know what, every problem has a solution. Let's figure out what we need to do to get these companies profitable and scalable.
And what sticks out in my mind from what you just stated, you wanted to ensure that it was a seamless experience and a stress-free. And I think, we know from different, I guess we can say experiments or stats or whatever you want to call it, that finances, talk about relationships, finances is usually the top reason for divorces or for stress, which causes other issues like we talked about earlier, health, like with your dad, which we don't know if that's what it was, but that causes a lot of issues for individuals. So finances are so important. And I think, especially in the African American culture, now I thank God I was raised with a progressive family. So I was raised younger, and was what I'm doing with my daughter, to understand money, managing money, credit, the importance of cash as well, for smaller things. But credit is so important. If you're not a trust fund baby, or someone you plan on someone to be leaving you millions of dollars at some point, credit is so important. I cannot tell you. I don't know how to stress that as much. And so it's so good that you have the business that you have, because we need more people that are in the business that truly care about the individuals, that truly care about assisting businesses, and to teach them how really easy, and that's what I try to explain to people too with real estate. It's really an easy process as long as you're taking care of your business. Now, if you're not taking care of your business, turning things in or not reporting certain things, and so when you're in what we call underwriting, when you're getting your loan, trying to get that final approval, just because you were approved for a loan, and does not mean you're going to go to the end and get final approval. How important it is to take care of your business. So this is a segue to talk about these PPP loans, the money that people are getting, and like the stimulus checks that certain people are getting. I think you had to make under $95,000 for this one or something like that. So there are a lot of us that aren't getting it, but there are a lot of us that are, and this could be a way for you to start being productive, how you utilize that money. So what are you sharing with individuals when you're getting these monies in, this funding, whatever it may be, being smart about management?
Yeah.
What advice and opinion would you give those moguls watching?
The first step is to know where your money is. And when I say that, it's to have a system in place that shows you where it comes in, where it goes out, right? What are you spending the most on? After you spent your money on the necessities, what's left over? What can you do with that? How to make every dollar should have a job, essentially. So once you know where it's coming in, where it's going out, if you can offset that balance so more is coming in and less is going out, that's one thing that we'll definitely look at and you should be looking at. And after you've established that, the next thing is to give every other dollar a job.
And guys, it's okay to have a certain percentage to where its job is for you to enjoy yourself.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But that's after everything else has been taken care of. And the older you get, I feel like, especially if you're in your late 30s, getting ready to enter in your 40s, and you really should beforehand, but realistically, a lot of people aren't financially sound or mature. Investing a certain percentage of your monies being invested, and that whatever that may be. Now I always preach real estate, because real estate is, and most likely, your Bill Gates and Warren Buffett have told you, real estate will most likely always be the cornerstone of wealth, right? Because you can't create more land. Land is what it is, right? But say you're just not interested in real estate, whatever that investment is, being wise about doing the research and getting into something that you're going to have long term. So do you kind of preach that to your clients as well when you're working with them with managing their funding, their funds?
Absolutely. That you're absolutely right that investing is a piece, but I try to introduce investing after we've gotten down to the minimum of like looking at your credit score, or really knowing how much you make, knowing what your discretionary income is, reducing your debt, and having a plan for that. Once those things are in place, then you can focus much better on saving and spending.
So what advice do you give to those business owners that come to you that are looking to start? Say I've increase my scores personally. Now I'm going into the business credit. Mm-hmm. What's some advice and opinion that you provide for those individuals?
So on the business end, are you profitable? Mm-hmm. And what can you do to increase your profitability? Mm-hmm. Where are you spending the most money, and where can you try to reduce that, those expenditures? Because that is going to make or break your business. Mm-hmm. Knowing where you can cut the fat without cutting the quality of your service or your product, and actually assessing what a cost is. Like, a lot of people don't know what things actually cost. And
that's
so they
true.
end up
just ordering stuff for your business and not really paying attention, huh?
No. So what ends up happening is that they price their products, or they're priced incorrectly, or they have a problem just maintaining their business because they don't have enough money coming in and they have too much going out. That's a big problem. It seems minor in the grand scheme of things, but it's a huge problem.
It can make or break. Let me tell you, it can make or break, and we know that most businesses don't make it past that third year. Mm-hmm. And we don't want to say to you guys that, okay, if you're not profitable within the first year, that means your business is not going to last. But you can't be in year 4 or year 3 and you're still not making profit. There's something that you're going to have to change to that formula. So give us an example of a great story that you have where you've assisted a business.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So I'm actually working with a young lady right now who is just a rock star all around. And she has so much going on in her business that she just needed a way to see her money. Like, that's what I call it, like just seeing your money, because it's the simplest way to put it. Mm-hmm. And now that she sees her money, she can make way better informed decisions. Mm-hmm. And just in the last couple of months of working together, she's been able to expand her business by 20%.
Wow.
That's not just profit. That's also just like business offerings, being able to have an actual marketing budget, hiring consultants for where she was lacking, putting systems in place. And just with that information and just setting that process in place of seeing your money, she was able to grow by 20%. And that's 2 months.
Amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. So when we come back, I want to delve into parenthood.
Oh boy.
And now balancing, because it's and if you're not a parent, you won't understand.
Yeah.
You guys that are out there living fancy free, I applaud you, because it is definitely a different balancing act when you are a mother and a business owner, or a mother entrepreneur, mother contract worker, or if you're a mother and a professional that's climbing that corporate ladder. You have a very grueling, demanding schedule with work and employment, as well as a grueling schedule with taking care of a human being. So when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about how that transition has been, and what advice and opinion you can give the moguls on how you work with, life balance, how you try to have. And a lot of us are still working on it. You might still be working on it because your baby is really new. And how you deal with that. So we'll talk about that right when we come back in just a few. All right, we'll be right back.
Edge Radio TV is holding auditions for new show hosts. Are you a subject matter expert, professional, influencer, book author, thought leader, or business owner with an educational or motivational platform? Then we want to meet you. Send a link of some of your work to edgeradio20@gmail.com and be sure to put audition in the subject line. Join the Edge Radio TV family. Edge TV, because truth still matters.
When people stop talking to each other, society is on the edge. Let's bring them back. Edge Radio, because truth still matters.
All right, moguls, we are back. And so we want to end the show with talking about work-life balance and being a mom. And congrats again on your beautiful baby girl and the boss. Because we all know when you have a baby, the baby is the boss baby. That movie is real. That's like real. All of you guys that have seen the cartoon Boss Baby is true. They run the show. So what was that like becoming a mom first of all?
It was an experience. Oh man. It was spiritual, it was love, it was anxiety, it was
yes, God.
It was a lot.
Yes, but it's so worth it. It's so funny how you as a first mom, and let me take that back because I'm pregnant now, but it's over a decade later. Mm-hmm. But because we're in COVID, my anxiety is on 1,000. Mm-hmm. I'm wiping everything down twice. Just so anxious. And I'm sure you would having a baby during COVID, that brought on another level of anxiety that you really can't explain unless you're experiencing it. Right. So how have you dealt with anxiety with dealing with, or did you deal with, did you think about, oh God, I'm pregnant during COVID, I don't want to be sick, did that kind of affect you as well?
Yeah, for sure. But I just made it a point to really ask my doctors, and now that she's here, her doctors, I try to inform myself and educate myself as much as I can so that I can mitigate as much risk as I can. Mm-hmm. The only thing COVID has really stopped so far is just being able to have in-home care for her. But for the most part, just asking a lot of questions and informing myself with as much information as I could, and just operating from that was what I was able to do or had to do.
And that's a huge thing. That's not a minor thing. In-home care. That's what I've been thinking about, and I'm actually going to have my aunt that's retired because I know how she moves. We're going to be wearing a mask. She's extremely clean and constantly washing her hands, wiping stuff down like me. But that's a huge thing, not being able to, if you don't have a family member or someone that may be retired that is extremely aware and conscious, that you can trust. That's a huge balancing act because you're running your business and you're dealing with a newborn and a baby. So besides asking questions, and so that's a good point too, moguls, don't be afraid to ask for help, whether that's from your doctor, because you need to be informed more, You want more informative information, or a friend, or family member, or sharing with someone, or sometimes you need a therapist. Whatever you need to deal with that fear. Now, what else do you do? Hobbies. It could be reading, it could be watching certain shows, or what else do you do to kind of have your little bit of, because you're only getting a little bit right now, a little bit of me time in for that balance.
Yeah. Right now, I have just kind of gotten back into the gym, which is my happy place.
Oh, good.
So
Good.
working out is the number one priority for me. And fortunately, my mom and her dad really come together to make sure that I'm able to have that me time.
It's good for
And
mental,
oh
for the
yeah,
mental health.
oh
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Other than that, just reading. I read every day, and I just, even if it's like 10 pages, 20 minutes, whatever the case may be, just to kind of keep my mind going and just having a moment to escape from the day, you know.
And that's a blessing that you have that support system, your mom and your husband. And once again, don't moguls always say, don't be afraid to ask. And it's funny that I'm saying that because I'm one that doesn't like to ask. But a lot of times, if you have an entrepreneur spirit, and I think you'll agree, because everybody's not born to be an entrepreneur. If you have an entrepreneur spirit, you're most likely the woman or the man that's not going to ask for help.
Yeah.
Because you have that personality of getting the job done. I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to get it solved. I'm going to be the solvent to this problem. And so it's important, especially as we get older, that we start being more aware and conscious that you can't do everything on your own. You literally will drive yourself mentally insane, right? So, exactly. So how has that been balancing the late night feeding with sending an email or working on some client? How have you been able to balance that, your scheduling and or you kind of been going with the flow?
So, okay, that's a good question. So first of all, again, my mother and her father are my backbones. They are my support. They are they without them, I couldn't do it. Let's just say that, right?
Awesome.
So having that support is absolutely imperative. There's just for me personally, I don't know how I would have done it without them.
Yeah.
But other than that, I set really stringent boundaries around my time. Because people, especially when they're paying you for a service, they think they own you, so they'll call you at like 2 a.m. and I'm just like,
God,
I'm not doing that anymore.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
And then I'm also making sure that I'm prioritizing myself, because if I'm not well, I can't produce well, right?